this game set new standards for the industry, or should it just fall into the pits of hell? In El Shaddai you play as Enoch, a scribe who must bring 7 fallen angels back to heaven to be punished for perverting mankind's evolution. If he cannot succeed, then God and the Angelic Council will wipe out all of mankind with a worldwide flood. El Shaddai Ascension of Metatron tells the story through cinematics, but not just through cinematics. There are a few moments to where you'll be doing a side-scrolling level and you'll be having 2 characters going back and forth between each other while you're defeating enemies and going upstairs. It's an interesting way to tell the story of El Shaddai, but unfortunately at times it's hard to really concentrate on the dialogue when you're being confronted with lots and lots of enemies, or you're being distracted by the gorgeous artwork in the game. However, there are still some unanswered questions that I would like to know. Why does Enoch need pants? And 2, why does Lucifer get to have God's cell phone number, and where can I get that number? Because I could really use that when I'm in a pickle next time. In presentation of games today, we rarely see anything that really innovates in the presentation field. However, El Shaddai took that to a new level. Unlike other games in this generation where we see nothing but palettes of colors of gray, or black and white, we actually see a wide variety of colors that just are stunning to the eye. It's hard to see even on real footage that we're showing you right now. You need to experience on your own television in the best settings you possibly can. The great thing about El Shaddai is as you keep going through the levels, in each level they change the art style so that it seems fresh and new and that you won't get bored. However, let's not say that some of the character designs aren't overused, unfortunately. But overall, the presentation is astounding and one of the best looking games of 2011. The presentation alone is worth at least checking it out. One of the many great aspects about El Shaddai is that it changes up the gameplay a lot. Although you will be doing a lot of platforming and combat, the platforming can be split into 2 sections, 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional. 2-dimensional segments utilize some really unique art styles and some really fun and clever puzzles, while the 3D platforming is kind of lackluster, unfortunately. It's hard to really see where you're supposed to land, and it's hard to judge distance and depth. Now, combat can be associated with one button, but it's not just a simple button masher. It's a very deep system, and if you can finally get the keen on what your favorite weapon is and its combos and its advantages and disadvantages, you'll have a lot of fun with El Shaddai. Unfortunately, you will have to drop your favorite weapon and switch every once in a while. To do this, you're going to have to steal your own enemy's weapon, and once you knock them out a little bit, you can then steal your weapon, their weapon, and purify it once they have a blue aura surrounding them. You can also purify your weapon after it becomes corrupted after defeating many different enemies to deal more massive damage, as having a corrupted weapon will not do much damage to them. Now, the way El Shaddai maneuvers between different gameplay segments is really interesting. However, one moment you will be platforming as a different character, the next moment you'll be racing down a Tron-like racetrack, which is great fun, actually. And surprisingly, it doesn't have multiplayer, which would have been so much fun. Though I'm not going to knock it off just for that. It's a great experience nevertheless. Now, El Shaddai's health system, you may notice there is no HUD. In order to determine your health, you will have to watch Enoch's clothing. Now, if he's fully clad with his armor, then he has full health. If he's bare bones and pants, then, well, you're going to have to revive him soon if he gets hit. You can do this by performing a rapid fire recovery by pressing all the face buttons. Once you do that, if you press it fast enough and many times, you can then revive Enoch with full health. The gameplay is really fun. Although the platforming is a bit lackluster, the combat is satisfying, but unfortunately can get a bit stale after you go through the whole game. Now, as we spoke about health earlier, if you want to have the HUD on, you'll have to wait until you beat the boss, and get New Game Plus before you'll actually be able to turn the HUD on, unfortunately. You can beat El Shaddai in about 10 hours. It is a short game, and there are some incentives to go back. One is the magnificent soundtrack. You can purchase this amazing orchestrative soundtrack on iTunes thanks to Square Enix. However, The other incentives are nothing but leaderboards and extra costume skins. If you like to go on leaderboards and try to test your skills against other players, then I'm sure you'll have plenty to go back on. But if you don't really care about leaderboards, or maybe you just don't feel like unlocking extra costumes, then there really isn't much to go back on. There are some ways to unlock some backstory through something called Freeman's Notes. You can also find bonus levels called the Darkness stages. Unfortunately, though, those stages are nothing but bland and uninspired platforming sequences that are just boring and feel like a chore to play. Overall, El Shaddai is a great game. Although it may be a tad short and the replayability may be scarce, or it could be a lot depending on the player, the game is still worth experiencing. If you can find the game for less than $50, then I would highly recommend that you purchase El Shaddai. Overall, VGTribune gives El Shaddai Ascension of the Metatron for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 an 8.5 out of 10. El Shaddai is the best religious game to come out on any platform so far. Yes, it even beats Bible Adventures, even though that is a great game. Insert sarcasm here. El Shaddai, though, provides a unique art style experience and some great two-dimensional platforming and deep combat sections. If you'd like to know more, feel free to visit VGTribune.com for more information on the latest news and reviews of the gaming industry. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns about any of our content that we provided with you today, feel free to email us at tips@VGTribune.com. We want to hear your opinion about what you think about these reviews. Do you like them or do you not? Anyway, thank you for watching, and you guys